Hello everyone, my name is Akai Fox and this is an art video. Today's art video is something a little special and different because it's the first time I've gotten a package request to do a series of digital emotes on Twitch. I don't openly advertise that I do emotes or commissions because I always feel like I am behind and I have so many to catch up on that are requests from my channel that I often don't feel like I can take on things that are paid as often, which of course means that I'm not being paid for a lot of the art that I'm doing. However, I do make it a point that if I am doing an art commission that I am being paid for, that it gets first priority because it's something that's being requested with a monetary value. So this is the first of 5. I am currently making what is called a raid emote. If you don't know what a raid is in Twitch, it's where a broadcaster or a streamer will take their community once they have ended their stream and share that community by going into and opening, essentially sending their community to that other streamer. It's something that's one of my favorite things actually about Twitch is the fact that instead of just ending and saying goodbye, I get to then send all of my viewers to someone else's space and say, hi, how's it going? We're bringing you, and my raid message is, we're bringing you the love and the attention you deserve. So when thinking about what I was going to be doing for their raid emote, I was given no direction. The only things I was told about their emotes in particular was that it is a Bobcat and that they really like the emote style that I use for my Akai Fox, and they wanted something very similar but in a Bobcat. So they had given me a logo of what theirs looks like, and that was it. That is the only directions that I was given, was I want this and this and this in a Bobcat in kind of that cute chibi style. So when I was thinking about what does a raid really feel like to me, kind of feels like you're going out somewhere new, somewhere foreign. It's maybe a little scary, who knows sometimes. And what better thing for me to personally lean into than space? Space is one of my actual fears, but luckily I don't see myself ever needing to go into space anytime soon. But I thought it would be a cute little emote of this Bobcat floating in space being sent in a raid. So that is what we are currently drawing, is this adorable little Bobcat going out into space and in a little bubble helmet. Now I wanted to also give this a little fun flair of drawing this upside down. So what I did was I pointed an arrow on the canvas, flipped it upside down so that I could draw it right side up, and then follow of the sketches. This is that moment I realized I drew on a sketch layer, which is why there is blue and when there shouldn't have been on the line layer, but I am notoriously bad about forgetting which layer I'm drawing on. So we fixed that, cleaned that up, so the cat is now all outlined, and now we are going to be drawing the cute little beans. And when researching what a Bobcat looks like, it also brought up what's the comparisons between a Bobcat and a lynx. I did not realize that a Bobcat actually has more of a bobtail than a lynx has, kind of the almost deer-like tail, right? Just a little point. So that's why there is actually a little stub of a tail, which of course can vary by Bobcat to Bobcat, but the references that I was given actually had a little bit of a tail, so I snuck in a little tail there. And so we're just cleaning up and making sure that all of the line work was solid. I wanted to give as much facial markings and features as I could to say, hey, this little cat has some spots. It has some cute markings. I couldn't decide whether or not I wanted to draw the cream around the eyes like it does in a normal Bobcat or in the reference that I was given, and instead I chose to only keep the cream around the mouth and on the belly because this doesn't have to be exact. It's meant to be a little chibi and a little cute, and so that's what we ended up doing here. Now, the colors may seem a little off, but I promise once we remove our sketch layer, it makes a little more sense. It's just some of that blue fighting. So there's our much brighter tan, and I was just playing around. This was the first I did in the series, so it was a little bit of experimentation of once I finish this one, let's make sure the rest of the color scheme matches. And I ended up blending and kind of blurring a lot of the spots to kind of mesh a little bit more. I gave some darkness to the inside of the spot, although it is extraordinarily subtle. I ended up wanting to kind of brighten a little bit more. I felt like the tan we had was just a little on the darker side. So we do end up brightening the actual fur quite a bit. And I did end up keeping the pinks and the things from the original reference video because I felt it was a reference image. Now here's where, again, I wanted to highlight that it's got a little bit of a muzzle and a cute little belly, because nothing's cuter to me than having that cat with the belly. And here I was kind of experimenting. Do I add any whites to the eyes? You can see for a second there that was the image, and at the end of the day I just chose not to. Now, when it came to the helmet, I really did want it to highlight that this is a bubble, but I also didn't want it to fade out the head too much. So the way I accomplished this is I actually doubled the little helmet, and I did one that was very transparent on top, and I actually erased a lot of the cat outline, and then one that was very opaque on the bottom. So that way you got kind of the image. I made sure that there was some sort of glass-like reflection. And at this point, it was time to start moving on to the actual letters. Now, coming up with the font is always just something fun, but I wanted to make sure that it was nice and chunky and that I could move it around. And so again, this was the first of the series, and I learned very quickly that even though I wanted to just, RAID and space it out that way, that I did not want to center. It was bothering me. And you won't actually see it in this video, but we ended up, after I sent this over for final proofing, and they actually had it for a few days, the person actually reached out and said, hey, I want that black to be a different color. It blends in too much with kind of like the dark mode or things like that. So in the final image that you'll see, I actually changed the black on the letters to be kind of a nebula purple and pink, which just helps to make sure that whether you're using light mode or whether you're using dark mode, that it stands out. Now with all of my letters, I do like to make sure there is a white outline, and so I accomplish that by selecting the letter itself and then expanding the selection and then just filling in that selection so it gives just a very, very even thing, which is something newer that I really hadn't leaned into as much, because previously I would just take a copy of that letter, duplicate it, and you actually see me start that process there, and then I said, no, actually, I can just go ahead and make a true outline with that selection tool. I did end up coming in with some stars, which, as much as I'd love to say it was so much fun to paint all of these stars by hand, we got brushes for that. I ended up using, I think it was sparkle or glitter. There is actual stars, but I wanted it to be more kind of shimmery, and less chunky 5-point stars. So I went through all the letters, and again, at the final version, I ended up just doing a paint bucket with a, I think it was a darker purple, and then coming in with kind of a magenta, which you will see towards the end. But I'm very happy overall with how it turned out. I think it's very cute, and I'm excited to share the others in the series that I worked on with this. not something I've ever done before, and it led into really fantastic discussions about, what does packages look like? What is pricing appropriate for art? And those will be topics we'll discuss in other videos. So thank you guys so much for watching and just for supporting the channel here. If you'd like to see more of this art, you can of course check out more of my other videos. And as always, if you liked it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of the good things. And